Hey everyone, it's Jason. Today I'm going to do a gameplay video of Saban's Power Rangers, Heroes for the Grid. So this is a miniature slash card game. The miniatures are more used for just showing where the characters are on the board, rather than like a tactical style game. So it's more of like a card game, but it's still pretty cool. So what I've done here is, this is going to maybe be a little bit longer video because I've set it up for 5 players. So I'm just going to pop my camera off here for a moment. So I have set up the 5 core Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we got our, and then we have our different world, our different setup. And the way the game works is the different locations are set up based on your foot soldiers. So there's 3 levels of monsters. There are foot soldiers, who we are fighting the Z Putties and the Super Putties, the Super Putty Patrollers. And they determine your location. So each one is tied to 2 different locations. So if I swapped out the Z Putties for like other warriors, which would be like the Tango Warriors, the regular Putty Patrollers, Mastodon Troopers, then 2 of these locations would change to other different things. And that works with the deck here. So like when you play a card on the back here, it shows the dot or the power plant. So like when I flip over this card, it's going to tell me what villain or how many villains go to which area, and that's how the game you deploy. And we'll get into the deployment when we actually go. And then you also choose 2 monsters, which are mixed into the deck here. So we'll eventually draw a card. It'll tell us to pull a monster. That's when we know a monster comes out, and then finally we'll get the boss. And the way that when you're setting up the deck, you split this into 5 piles. And then in the first pile, it's just the foot soldiers. The second and third piles each will have 1 monster, and the fourth has a boss. So that you don't end up with a boss on like the first turn. It's just kind of a nice way to play it. And you could stack that deck a little bit, depending on how you can stack it at the end of them piles, or the third card in, or however, if you choose. Up here we have our Megazord and our Zord counters. So if you're familiar with Power Rangers, as we play through and we defeat enemies, we will move this power level up. We hit 6, we get to draw a Zord card, which are the big giant robots that the Power Rangers did use. Here's our pile of minions, some hit tokens and stuff. And then here we have a setup for all of our Rangers. And there's kind of a glare on that one. So I'm actually using some cards from the Kickstarter. So they have the same abilities as the regular cards you find in the base game. Everything that I'm playing with, well, I shouldn't say that. The Z Putties might be a Kickstarter character, a little bit more difficult than regular Putties. But that's basically I'm playing with like beginner stuff. I'm not mixing and matching too much. So these are the same character cards, they just have the different artwork. They have like old school comic book artwork versus the artwork from the game. So we are playing with Billy Cranston, who's the Blue Ranger. And they're all going to have different abilities. I'm not going to go over the abilities at the moment. We have Trini Kwan, who's our Yellow Ranger. Jason Lee Scott, who's our Red Ranger. Kimberly Ann Hart, who's our Pink Ranger. And Zach Taylor, who is our Black Ranger. And then you can see here, we have all our different Rangers. They're all color coordinated, so you can tell them apart really quick. Other things to make of note on these boards is they are going to have this number here. This is a panic token, or a panic number, and I have little tokens for them. So I can only have 6 bad guys on one spot at a time, or a monster or a boss. As soon as a monster or a boss hits an area, it is immediately considered to be panicked. If all 4 areas are panicked, I lose. So my goal of the game is to inevitably beat the boss, who in this case we are fighting Bones, Knasty Knight, and then Rita Repulsa as our boss. And while doing that, I have to send the Rangers to different areas to keep the areas clean of various bad guys. As we play through a round, we'll kind of explain how that works. Other things we have sitting here is we have energy tokens, which are used to pay for cards. And then we have action tokens. Every ranger has 2 action tokens, and you spend an action, you can flip it over just to keep track. And I have 3 things I can do with action tokens. I can move. So I can move a ranger to one area. Each area I move them to, you start in the command center, and if I move to any of the areas, it costs me 1 move point. Or to move back into the command center. There's a special ability for doing that. You can, which lets you recover and like reshuffle your decks up. You can initiate a battle, so if like one turn I move Red Ranger here, I can start a battle here, which if there was 3 Rangers in here, and I start a battle, they will all start a battle together. And then I could use another action point to start a second battle or a third battle, depending on if there's any enemies left. And we'll kind of see how that works as I start playing, but one Ranger initiates a battle, then they all get a fight. So that's what makes this game really interesting and unique, is that it's not I take my turn, you take your turn, third player takes their turn. It's you decide as a team who needs to go to which area, who needs to stop what bad guys. Then you move there. Then even on that turn when you start a battle, so again, let's say I had the Pink Ranger and Red Ranger here, and they're fighting, let's just say this one Putty. It's not necessarily the Red Ranger goes, then the Pink Ranger goes. What it is the Rangers as a collective have a turn, and then the villains have a turn. So the Rangers have to decide, the Pink Ranger and the Red Ranger player have to decide who has the better cards to play at that turn to take him out. Or maybe if they were down to the last villain, maybe the Red Ranger doesn't have any cards left. So maybe he can't do anything. So it's kind of fun that way, because you get you're not going to have one player dominating, you're going to have everyone working as a team. And yeah, well, once you start playing, you'll kind of see how that mechanic all works. Each player has a deck of cards. So right now you don't start, unlike most games, you don't start by drawing a hand of cards right away. When you initiate a battle, then you draw your hand, and then you keep your hand. But you can draw up to 5 cards at the beginning of a battle. But this is also your life, so you don't want to spend too many cards. So I'm just going to flip over one Pink Ranger so we can see what the cards look like. So this is Arrow Shot. Up in the top we have the cost. So she has to spend 1 energy point to use it. So every Ranger starts with 1 point in their pool. At the beginning of a battle, you also add 2 points to the shared pile. So you can you could potentially have up to 3 per player. And this is going to state this is an attack. It's going to show those little cubes, which are how many dice they roll to deal the attack. And then it has a special ability. You can ignore the guard keyword, which, we'll explain that when we get there. And then it has just 2 tiny shields on the bottom. So these are for when you're taking damage. So if the Pink Ranger got hit for 3 damage, I would have flipped this card over from my deck, and I would have blocked 2 of that damage. And then I'd have to flip another card to see if I can survive anymore. Because, again, this is your life. So when you're starting a battle and you have to draw cards, you don't want to draw too many, because if you draw too many, you keep drawing and drawing and drawing, you're not going to have anything to defend with, and you're going to run out and you're going to lose. But there are ways to do it. So that was our 2 actions I've talked about so far. I'm kind of jumping around here. We're moving, and then actually initiating the battle. The third one is Recover, which lets you take cards from your discard pile of up to 6 shields, shuffle them back into your deck. So that way you can get healed that way. If you move to the command center, where the Rangers are currently, you can shuffle all of your hand and your discard pile back into your deck, and then draw a new hand of cards. So that helps you fully heal everything versus just 6. So if you're running down to 1 or 2 cards, you're probably going to want to go to the command center and heal fully. If you're in the middle of combat, but you're I just need a couple more points, you might spend a token so you can stay in the battle and not have to spend, 1 movement here, 1 movement back. Alright, so that's the basics. I have some cool dice for every colored character. These are also, these are extra purchase. The regular dice are just white. Just most of these games, I like to have different dice for every player. so you don't have to keep passing dice around, but they're all the same. The dice are going to have a hit, a miss, and a double hit symbol. So we'll get into those. Alright, that is the basic of how the game is set up, what the core concept is. So first we have a deployment phase. I'm just double checking to make sure I don't draw cards right away. I'm almost positive I don't. I don't think I draw them until I actually start. Alright, quick double check with the rule books. I was wrong. So, beginning of the game, each ranger gets to draw up to 5 cards. So now you can draw 1 card, you can draw 5 cards. What's also nice about this is you can draw them one at a time. So if you're like, I got 3 cards, that's good. And at the beginning of every battle phase, you can, if you have under 5 cards, you can also draw up to the 5 hand size. So I can't draw 5 new cards. So if I have 3 cards current in my hand, I could potentially draw 2 more. But I gotta remember, it's my life, so I don't want to draw too many. So beginning of the game, I'm just gonna always have everyone draw 5 cards. You may as well start with a full hand size. So we'll just draw Zax. We're gonna have a couple of different things. He's gonna have like a Mammoth Slam, which does 2 dice. So we're gonna have Smooth Moves, which is a reaction. So how this works is, it tells me when I can use it. It costs 0, but I play this card when any ranger suffers damage to reduce that damage by 2 and I gaining energy. So there's some cool effects there. We have another attack, that's 3. We have 4. And we have 5. And that only leaves 5 cards left in my deck. So I'm just going to set... I'm just going to draw all 5 cards. And this way, that way, as soon as I get done deploying, I can kind of look to see what character, what each ranger has. And I can kind of debate on what seems to be the best course of action, where to send who where. The other thing we have, just the third card type, is we have maneuvers. So we have a 0, which is, this is for the Blue Ranger. Knowledge is power. I gain 1 energy. A ranger of your choice may search their deck for a card, add it to their hand. If they do, they must shuffle their deck. So, your 3 options as a ranger are going to either be something that doesn't attack, that does some sort of damage. Playing a maneuver, which is something that you're actively choosing to do that doesn't, not considered an attack. I don't want to say it won't do damage, because they might do damage, but it won't be considered an attack. And then the third thing would be a reaction. So now we have our deployment deck. So that's this guy right here. We're going to set right there. Try and make sure I keep everything in the camera. So every turn we're going to deploy 5 monsters. So we're going to flip over the first one. It's going to show us Z Putty Patrollers, and it has 2 of them. And it's going to show us where? In the power plant. So we're going to grab 2 of these Z Putties, and we're going to go to the power plant. So that was 1. Our second one is we get 3 more at Angel Grove High. Which is right there. And I think you can choose doing easier and let you 4 deployment. I'm going to do 5 just because that's what the rule book states. So I have 2 Super Putties who are also going to Angel Grove High. And now we have 5 in that location, which panics that location. So we're going to put one of these little panicked tokens on there. So now what's going to happen is if I draw any more monsters would go to that location, they're going to move to the next one. So that was 3. 2 more Super Putties to the dockyard. And finally, we have 2 Z Putties to the Industrial District. So now, I got villains kind of everywhere. I'm just going to set these guys back over here, just so they're out of my way. So now I have to divide how I want to move the Rangers around. So I can do my actions, which would be recover, but nobody has any reason to recover right now. I can battle, but there's nobody in the command center to battle, so I have to move everybody. So each player is going to have to spend one token. So as a team, the group of players will decide what's the most beneficial. And this kind of helps. The more you play the game, you're going to get to know your characters a little bit better. I haven't played this a ton, so I don't know exactly how every character works perfectly, so I'm probably going to lose. But you can get an idea of what each player can take care of. So, obviously I get some guys over here and take out this area because it's panicked. But I don't want to leave these other three completely empty. So I gotta decide those. Do I send, 4 characters here? Do I send 2 here and 2 there? Or how do I want to break them up? I can look at my cards, and I can see stuff like Zach has a ton of different attack cards. He has 2 damage, deal extra damage, reduce damage. There are 4 more cards in your discard pile. Add 1 die to this attack. So Zach can do some pretty good damage by himself. What does the Pink Ranger have? So the Pink Ranger has, I can ignore guards. So some reaction for defense. There's a maneuver to play extra cards, reaction, and some guards. So since she can defend against guard attacks, I probably want to send her to Angel Grove High, just because she's going to do the most benefit. There's going to be more cards that can guard against each other. The Red Ranger, who's usually the leader, has some good attacks, but helps other Rangers, with the block. He also has some big attacks. So I might want to send him in with these guys to help take them out. What does the Blue Ranger have? A maneuver, an attack. So he has some special defense cards. Here has a star on there. And so if this card is revealed for defense, I can gain an extra energy. Some more maneuvers, and another one of those. And then this has just a hit icon, so I roll 1 die and I do 1 automatic hit. Alright, so the Blue Ranger is pretty beefy and defensive. And we have the Yellow Ranger. 2 straight up hits, a maneuver, an attack. This attack defeats a target. You may immediately perform a second attack with 2 die. Alright. So, now the question is how I want to move guys around. I think what we're going to do is Blue Ranger is going to spend 1 point, and he's going to jump to the power plant. I think he can take those guys out by himself. And the same thing, I'm going to have the Black Ranger, and I don't know if this is the best strategy. I'm going to have the Black Ranger go to the Industrial District, and then I'm going to have everybody else spend 1 more token, and we're going to move to Angel Grove High. So now all the Rangers have each spent 1 action point. See if I can kind of show that. So like the Pink Ranger here spent 1 of the action points. So now they can all only do 1 more action. So the Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger, being by themselves, are going to have to spend 1 point just to battle. So they get 1 opportunity to defeat those 2 characters, and that's it. The Pink Ranger, Red Ranger, and Yellow Ranger are all together. So one of them can initiate the battle, and then if they don't beat everybody, if they still have enough cards, or whatever, they can all initiate, like each one of the other 2 characters can initiate another battle if I need to. So I could potentially fight these guys 3 times. So let's just start off with the Blue Ranger. So initiate, he's going to get the first player battle token. So put that by his character. What we're going to do is set all my cards up on my nice little thing here so I can read them a little bit quicker. You kind of want to turn it a bit so you can sort of see them. So now we have to do our deployment phase. to deploy a monster. So, for each foot soldier, I get to draw one enemy card from the matching deck. And I think you only always place up to 4. So if there's like 5 or 6 of the same characters, you don't ever do more than 4 of the same one. Yeah, there'd never be more than 4 foot soldiers participating in the battle. So there are more than 4 foot soldiers. The lead ranger, who's the person that initiated the battle, gets to decide which ones they get to do. So, for example, that means when I go to do the Angel Grove Park, I can choose whether I want to fight 3 Z Putties, or if I want to fight 3 Z and 1 Super, if I want to fight the 2 Super and 2 Z. Just kind of get to choose which way you want to go with that. What we're going to do is we're going to fight 2 Z Putties. So what we do is we flip over a card, and they have the Z shield. So it has 3 health, so I have to hit it 3 times to do it. It has guard, and it has drain 2. So we'll just set that down here. I need a wider zoomed camera for this game. And then, okay, so now we drew a second one. So I'm going to shuffle this one back in. Not because I think it's unfair, but because I don't remember how 2 guard cards next to each other work, if there's no other cards. Because a guard card, what it means is you can't attack the cards around it. And if 2 cards are guarding each other, that would conceivably mean you can't attack either of them, but I don't think that's correct. Alright, so we're going to play that one. So then we got Fierce Strike, which also has 3 health, and it says it deals 4 damage. Alright, so how this works is I have those 2 cards out there. The way the turn works for battling is the Ranger team gets to go first, and then so they're going to play 1 card collectively. So I just have the Blue Ranger, so it's the only one I have to worry about. When I'm playing with the other 3 colors, if the Pink Ranger goes, then no one else gets to go. So it's not each player gets a turn, it's 1 Ranger gets a turn. And then the bad guys go. And then when they go, they'll turn their card sideways, and they'll do whatever effect they're on it. If I've beaten the card already, you flip it over, and nothing would happen, but it still counts as one of their turns. So if he's going to hit me right away for guard, he's going to do, if I don't defeat him this turn, he's going to do 2 damage, or take 2 of my energy, which I don't want to do. So when I first start the battle, I also get 2 extra energy points to spend. We'll just drop them in my little tray here. And since it has guard, it means I cannot attack the Fierce Strike. I have to defeat the Z shield first. Alright, so now what do I want to play? So I think what I'm going to do is spend one of these global energies, because they go away at the end of the battle anyhow. Each ranger has their own personal energy spot. If you spend that, it does not regenerate unless you go back to the command center or use your recovery ability. But at the beginning of every battle, there will always be 2 energy in the generic, or like the shared pile. So it makes sense. You may as well use it if you can. So I'm going to spend 1, and we're going to play our Mighty Maces, which says attack. I have 3 dice, and the other thing's a defense ability, so I don't need to worry about that. So we're going to roll 3 dice, and I drew possibly the worst thing I could draw. I got 3 misses. So that is awful. So now he's going to go, and he has drain 2, so he's going to drain both of my energy. So the other one, the shared pool, plus my Ranger's energy. If I had a reaction that did something, I could have played it there, but I did not. So now I have the option. I still can't attack Fierce Strike, unfortunately, but I can still attack this card. And the bonus of it is when you beat one of the cards, because each one represents one of the troopers, there'll be 1 less person to fight. It just means there's no way I can beat both of them this combat. I am going to play a Tactical Strike, which is cost 0, so I don't have to pay anything, which is nice. But I rolled 2 dice, and after I play this card, I place it back on top of my deck instead of discarding it. And the reason for this, I really want to do this, is because I have 2 shields. And if this attacks, it's going to, because I can't defeat it this turn. I'm going to take 4 damage. So at least I'm for sure blocking 2. But I have to roll 2 dice. I rolled 3. I rolled a double and a hit. So that means I beat this card, which immediately removes one of the putties from the board, and they're going to fly way over here to my Zord spot and sit on that board, and you can kind of see them up there. And that's just when that fills up, I get one of my Zords. So now the putties are going to go. They're going to do this, and they're going to attack me for 4. So I'll flip over my first Ranger card, top of my deck. I blocked 2 damage. I flip over the second one. So now I blocked 3. So if this would have been a 1 shield or a 2 shield, I just would have discarded it. But because it was 3, and it's more than what they're doing damage, they're only doing 2 more, I get to put this back on the bottom of my deck. So the Blue Ranger is really good at defense. Plus it says, if this card was revealed for defense, I gain an energy back. So that's nice because I have an energy for my next turn. Alright, so that's the end of my turn. These guys go away. This goes to the discard pile. That one gets shuffled back to the bottom. And now there's only one more Z Putty there. That's the end of that round. That was round 1. Alright, let's initiate battle 2 with the Black Ranger. So we have 2 more Z Putties, so let's see what we get. We're going to get another Fierce Strike for 4 damage. So I don't really want to take that right away. And then we have Overwhelm. Deal 2 damage, and then skip the next Ranger's turn in this battle. So that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Oh wait, once the last enemy card in combat sequence has been resolved, the Rangers get 1 final turn, then the battle ends. Alright, I was thinking I got one more. Alright, so I'm going to set those guys aside for just a sec. We're going to do this. Blue Ranger has 1 more turn. But I don't know if I have anything I can do to defeat that. So now here's my issue. So, because I forgot the Rangers have 1 more final turn. Now, I have maneuvers, which let me gain an energy. I can search a card and put it in my hand. But that doesn't help me because if I play that, I have no other actions. My other option is Counter Jab, which roll 1 dice, deal 1 hit. So I have to do 3 damage. So I could do that. I'd have to get at least 2 damage off of one die roll. So that's asking a lot. But let's do this. So here we have the Blue Ranger's ability. Strategize. Once per battle, a Ranger of your choice may draw 1 card and then place 1 card from their hand back on top of their deck. So I can only use it for Rangers that are in my battle, but since I still have an option here, I'm going to do is we're going to draw 1 card, and we're going to put 1 back. So that'd be a good way to, for his ability, to possibly, help someone get better shields back on top of their deck or replace. So I swapped out one of my knowledge of powers for a different counter jab. So I may as well play the counter jab and try it, or I could just say nope, skip my turn and not spend one of my cards and save it for the next turn. Which might not be bad because I have more health, I have more options. And they're not going to do any more damage to me. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to skip it, not do anything, and we'll call that good. So I didn't really do too much there. Extra, unfortunately, but that's fine. Alright, so now the Black Ranger's up. Zach Taylor, and his special ability is Hip Hop Keto, which says once per battle, after defeating an enemy with an attack, I may deal 1 damage to another enemy on an adjacent card. So if I can defeat one of these two guys, I can immediately do 1 point of damage to another one. So we're going to put our 2 energy tokens back in our shared pool. So I have Mammoth Slam that says if I have 4 more cards in my discard pile, I get 1 extra die. I don't have any yet, so I might want to save that for a later turn. I have a reaction that says Smooth Moves, says when I take damage, I can reduce it by 2 and gain 1 energy. So, since the first attack is going to do 4 damage to me, or the second one will deal 2 damage to me, but I have to skip my final turn, that will be good for either one of them, so I want to probably spend my 1 energy point right away. So I just gotta figure out what I want to do. So I could do Sweeping Strike, which says roll 2 dice and deal 1 hit to an enemy to adjacent to the target. So that would be helpful if I could beat the guy, and then use my Hip Hop Keto to do an extra point of damage. Or I could do Reckless Blow, which I have 2 of these. 2 dice. Before rolling, they discard the top card of your deck to add 2 dice to this attack. So the thing is, I don't really want to take 4 damage. But I don't know if 2 dice, if I'm going to for sure deal 3 damage to him. I mean, I should be able to, but I might not. And that's the thing of having multiple team members. Sometimes you're going to not defeat each guy every turn. What I think I'm going to do is play Reckless Blow. We're going to spend 1 of our stored energy. Before rolling, I may discard the top card of my deck. And it's a may effect, so I don't have to. I'm going to discard. Let's discard from his deck, not the Pink Ranger's deck. So we discard our Sweeping Strike, which would have been a nice card to have, and get 3 shields. But I get to roll 4 dice, and we are choosing to attack this guy. And you always gotta make sure you pick your target first. You can't roll and then be like, oh, I got a good roll. Instead, I'm taking out that guy. So that was pretty lucky, because I got 3 damage with my attack. So that would have been 3, so that would take him out. So what I'll do is I'll flip him over, and then once per battle, after defeating an enemy card with an attack, I may deal 1 damage to an adjacent card. So we're going to put 1 damage on him. So I only need to do 1 more damage to take that guy out. I'm going to take 1 of these Z Troopers, put him on our board over here, and then all the enemies go. So we're going to resolve this attack. But since it's flipped over, it does nothing. So now I got the question of which attack do I use, because Mammoth Slam again does 2 dice, but if I have 4 or more I get to add a card. Reckless Blow does 2, but I could add 2 more, so I might want to save that one, because adding 2 extra dice is super helpful. But then Sweeping Strike also says deal 1 damage to an adjacent target. So the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my extra shared energy. And when there's only 1 person, that 2 shared energy goes pretty well. But when you get 3 players, we'll see when I get to them, that shared energy is going to be a lot harder to use. Because if player 1 uses 2 of it, then no one else has use for it. So I get to roll 2 dice. I could choose to discard to add another die to this attack, but since I only need 1 damage, I'm not going to try it. I'm just going to hope... Oh, crap. I rolled terribly. So, I did not. I got 2 misses. So that's bad. So now he's going to attack, and he's going to deal 2 damage. And I can skip... I have to skip the next ranger in my turn. So now I could use my reaction, putting any ranger suffers damage, reduce it by 2 and gaining energy. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take the damage. So we're going to flip this over. We have our power axe, which has 3 defense. So I don't take any damage. And the only reason I didn't want to spend my reaction was because I still have my energy, so that 1 energy would have been wasted anyhow. And plus that would be better, I think, when I get to... when I get playing with other characters. Alright. So we've only defeated 2 of the 4, so that's not super good. But what this does set me up for is in the next round, is if more guys pile into one of these 2 areas, the blue and black ranger are already set up, ready to go. So now I need to take out as many of these guys as I can. So the red ranger is going to lead this battle. So he's going to spend his action token. He's going to lead the battle. We're going to set all of our cards up here. I might have to grab a... So now all 3 rangers participate in this battle. And the yellow ranger, alright. So now we get to decide what order we want to fight, guys. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the 3 Putty patrollers, and we're going to do 1 super Putty. What we're going to do is we're going to do the super Putty first. Okay, so that might not have been a great idea, but that's fine. So here's this engulf. It has 2 health, it has guard. So I can attack it, I just can't attack cards next to it. It has fast, and it has drain 1 energy. So what fast means is that if you draw fast any point during the deployment, the fast card moves to the front of the stack, so it's going to activate first, and then the enemies get to attack first, no matter what. So we drew that one, so here's our second one. We have another guard. We have Z Putties, self-destruct, passive. So this one doesn't do anything, like doesn't even attack or anything. But it says when this card is in play, each time a Z Putty patroller, including this one, is defeated, deal 2 damage. So I almost want to defeat that one first, so that I don't automatically keep, and I got a second one. So here's what's going to happen though. Every time I defeat a Z Putty, I'm going to take 2 damage. But because this Z shield here is guarding this self-destruct, I can't take it out until I take out that one. But because that one is... So I can take out this farther. So I'm actually going to take 4 damage for every single card. Z Putty, so this is not going to be a very good match. And then these first 2 cards, the Engulf and Z-Shield, both have guard, but guard cards cannot guard each other. So I can currently hit the first Engulf card, because it doesn't block the next card because they can't guard against each other. I can take out the Z-Shield, and I can take out this Spar Self-Destruction. But I can't take out this other one until I take out that Z-Shield. So we have a bunch of different options we need to do. But they're going to go fast first. I'm just going to do their turn first, and then we'll go. So we're going to take our 2 energy to our shared pool. And then game will begin. This will engulf right away, drain me of 1 energy. So I automatically lose 1 point. And now it's my turn, the ranger's turn. But because this is already activated, I don't even need to worry about defeating it right now, because it's not going to activate again. What I would like to do is I should try and do is take out this Z Putty here so I don't drain 2 more energy. I think if you ever cannot drain an energy, you take damage. I believe that's how that works. But when you have to drain energy, it can come from any player. If the number of energy in the shared tokens is less than the drained cards, remove stored energy from the rangers, if possible. Otherwise, each remaining energy that would be drained, a ranger must discard a card from their hand. So right now, this is going to drain me for 2 more. I have 4 energy between my 3 rangers in the shared pool. So I can afford to take 2. But if I take 2, drain energy, that's that many less attacks I can perform. So it's kind of a gamble on which direction I want to go there. Alternatively, I also need to take out, if I take out this guy first, I'm going to take 4 damage. So I almost want to take out some of those guys first so I take less damage. Let's look at our character abilities quick. We have Kimberly. She can do a quick shot. At the start of each battle, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy of your choice. So I'm going to deal 1 damage to one of those guys. And that's any damage. So I can ignore guard, whatever. We have Jason, who does the Red Ranger. Leadership. Once per battle, a ranger of your choice may reroll any number of dice during an attack. So that'll help in case you roll low. Zach and Billy both could have used that. And then we have Trini, Yellow Ranger. Once double strike, once per battle, after you play a card, you may immediately play another card with the same name. And so that will help her, because I do have 2 Saber-Tooth Strikes, which cost 1. So it says I do a 2 dice attack. If this attack defeats target, you may immediately perform a second attack with 2 dice. So I think what we're going to do is use Kimberly's ability to do 1 damage, and we're going to do it to that Z shield. Then what we're going to do is Trini is going to spend her 1 energy. We're going to play a Saber-Tooth Strike. So I get to roll 2 dice. And we're going to target the Z shield. If I can, even if I can't defeat it, I get to play another one. But if I can defeat it, I can immediately perform a second attack with 2 dice. We rolled 2. Perfect. So that's 3. So we have defeated that. So now what's nice, because of her Saber-Tooth Strike ability, which says, if this attack defeats a target, I may immediately perform a second attack with 2 dice. Now, I have to take 4 damage. So I'm going to do that before I take... Yeah, I'm going to take the... I'm not sure which direction you do that, because I could say this is still part of me playing that card, and I have to do that first. Or do I do the Z Putty? I'm going to roll my 2 dice as this card. We're going to say I'm still actively using this card. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. We're going to target this first self-destruct. So I rolled 3, so that's going to take out that one. Perfect. But now I have to take 2 damage. I'm going to flip over a card. Twin Fang Teamwork. Took 2 damage. Alright. But now, using her ability, I can play my second Saber-Tooth Strike immediately. And we're going to spend our shared pool, so I still have to spend the energy for it. So we're going to attack this second self-destruct, which... I have to take another 2 damage. Because I took 1 for this guy, I have to take 1 for that one. And that was a 3, that was a power dagger. Which sucks. Power Dagger's really good, but that's alright. So I only rolled a 1. So I immediately have the option of playing Red Ranger's leadership. Since once per battle, a Ranger choice may reroll any number of dice during this attack. So I am going to reroll 1 die. And I got a miss again. Alright, that sucked, but that's okay. So that does 1 damage to him. Now if I would have beat him, I would have got another quick 2 dice attack, and Trini herself probably could have taken out all these putties. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. So now second putty's gonna go, nothing happens. So now it's another player's turn. Now, again, I could go back to the Yellow Ranger and have her do more stuff. She has a maneuver, she has tenacity, which let me gain energy, take 2 different cards from my discard pile and return them to the top of my deck, which would get them Power Daggers and some of those other cards back out, which could be super helpful. I have just Precise Strike, which I could play, which does 2 direct damage, and after I play this card, I can spend an energy to shuffle it back into my deck. So I could do that and definitely just do 2 straight damage and take out one of these guys, which isn't a bad idea. The only downside to this is that as I'm doing more stuff like that, if I keep doing more and more with her, I'm not going to have any cards left in my deck or to play on my next turn. So let's see what some of my other cards have. We have, Kimberly has Arrow Shot, which uses 3 dice and I can ignore Guard. No guys with Guard right now, so I might save that for a different turn. We have Acrobatics, which is a reaction. Play this card when you reveal a card for defense to add your revealed card to your hand instead of discarding it or placing it on the bottom of my deck. So I'm not taking any damage, so that's not a problem. I could play this one to gain 1 energy and immediately play another card. If this attack, you may reroll any number of dice. So that would have been helpful if I would have spent an energy already. I could regain 1. And that's her card, because I have a second Acrobatic and a second Arrow Shot. So she doesn't really have anything. The 3 dice would definitely help me defeat either of the characters, but let's just see what else we have. We have the Power Sword, for the Red Ranger, who has 5 dice. Next time any Ranger performs an attack this battle, add 2 dice to the attack. So that's a good starting move. Start off right away, hit them strong, and then everyone else gets extra dice, but I don't think I need that right now. We have Team Tactics, gain an energy. Another Ranger choice may immediately play 1 card. So that's helpful again if I've already spent my energy, maybe for like my Power Sword. We have Triangle Slash. 3 attack, you may reroll any number of dice. We have a Block. Play this action when any Ranger suffers damage to reduce the damage by 3. So I could have played that with Trini if I wanted to. And then we have Lead the Charge. 2 dice. Next time any Ranger performs an attack, this add 1 die to that attack. So, now what's also going to happen is because the next Z Putties don't do anything. So I could use this as a free time to do something else. And then just not take damage from that self-destruct. What I'm going to do is we're going to play Lead the Charge, which is a 2 dice Red Ranger attack. And so the next time any Ranger performs an attack during this battle, I can add 1 die to that attack. So we're going to try and take out the self-destruct just because he'll be the next guy to go. And we did 1 damage, which is all we needed to do. Alright, and then it is the Putty's turn. So this guy is going to turn to activate. Nothing happens. So now I have 2 more turns. Because I have another turn, nothing's going to happen. And then I have 1 more turn, and I have 1 more turn after that. So I gotta do 2 more to take out that one. Now, I have taken out 3 Z Putties, or Patrollers, so I'm going to move them over to the board here. So if I take out this Super Putty, I gain a Zord, which would be super helpful for the next match. So now my options are what do I want to do? I get an extra die roll on something, but it's my next attack this battle. So it doesn't have to be the next card I play, just my next attack. So what I'm actually going to do is spend one extra turn here. We're going to play Knasty, and we're going to gain one energy, so she has her energy point back. And then we're going to choose 2 cards from my discard pile and return them to the top of my deck in any order. So we're going to definitely choose this Power Dagger. I think that'll help me out for the future matches. And then we're going to do Twin Fang Teamwork. Now they both also, I'm going to put the 3 cost on top. Just because. That way you can also stack that deck. So now it's the bad guy's turn. They're going to activate. I have one more turn to do 2 damage. So I have a couple different options. I could do Yellow Ranger's Precise Strike. This should do 2 straight damage. I could spend my energy to shuffle it back into my deck so I can keep that card. Or I could do Arrow Shot with Kimberly, which costs 1, which gives me 3 dice. Or I could do Triangle Slash with the Red Ranger, which also costs me 3 dice. And I only need to do 2 damage. And I actually get to roll 1 extra die, so I get 4 dice to do 2 damage. I feel the way I've been rolling, I'm going to play the safe way, and we're going to do Triangle Slash. We're going to spend the Red Ranger's energy. I get to roll 4 dice to do 2, but I can also re-roll any number of them. I did 3, so we're fine. So that would beat him. This guy would go on the board over there. We can clean up all these cards. Move our token there. All of these guys go back to the pool. And we're going to get our first card. Ooh, we got the Red Ranger card. So the way this works is you draw one of the Zords. Each Zord that you put in the game should match your characters in the game. So, but that's it. I don't have to play only like the Mighty Morphin. I can mix in the Zeal, the Space Rangers, Turbo Rangers, whoever else I have. But if I have a different colored Ranger or different character, I should put their card in there instead. So like if I swapped out the Blue Ranger for the White Ranger, I would swap out their Zords as well. And then when you draw it, that player gets the Zord. And then they can use their Zord during their turn. So this says, Tyrannosaurus. Exhaust this card before a Ranger performs an attack to add 2 dice to that attack. What's nice about the Zords versus the what's my brain trying to think of? Versus the character abilities is the Zords can be used to help out anybody. They don't have to be in that exact zone. Alright, so that is the end of that round. Now, I still have action... Excuse me. I still have action cards I can do. So, the Pink Ranger and the Yellow Ranger each have one more action they can do before I can end this first round. So they could initiate another battle, and I can fight this one guy here. Or I can use a recover action to try and recover some of my cards. Or third option is I can remove this panic token. Or the third option is I can move them somewhere else. If I move them, they're not going to be able to do anything else. A good spot is if I was going to move them, be at this juncture, like, because there's nothing like too big. I could either move someone to the dockyard to start prepping over here. But who knows where the bad guys are going to land. Or I can move them to one of the other areas to help out those guys. Or I could just move, like, Trini right to the command center and have her completely heal. Which wouldn't be even a terrible idea either. Just because I got decent. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I still have 5 cards in there. Because I have to put some back. But I also have to draw a few cards. So I think what we're going to do is the Pink Ranger. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have the Yellow Ranger move. And she's going to join the Black Ranger here. And then the Pink Ranger is going to initiate another battle. So what's going to happen then? We get 2 more energy. We draw our cards back out. Since the Pink Ranger did not spend any of their energy, or any of their cards, they still have 5 cards. So they don't need to do anything else. The Red Ranger, on the other hand, only has 3. And you can only use the Zords once per deployment. So if I use their Tyrannosaurus Rex now, I can only use him once. He basically like taps. I have to exhaust him. And I can't use him again until after I redeploy and start over. Now, I got 1 Super Putty, so I just draw 1 Super Putty. He's got a Fast Guard, Drain 1. So I get 2 chances to try and do 2 damage to him, and he's going to immediately drain 1 of my energy. So actually, I don't even get 2 chances. I get 1 chance to take him out because he's fast. Because he's going to activate, and then I'm done. So I got 1 chance to take him out. So he's going to exhaust right away. I could choose to draw some cards. I'm going to draw 1 card with the Red Ranger. It's a Tyrannoslash. So that's a pretty decent one. And then now I can opt to draw 1 more, but you can look at them first so you can see what you got. So you can be like, no, that's good, that'll work, I don't need any more. Or if you drew something, you don't have to like commit to drawing a full hand of 5. So I don't have to block anything. So I'm going to drain 1. So we're going to drain 1 from that pool. I think what we're actually going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to do Team Tactics, which costs 0. It's a maneuver. Gain 1 energy. Another Ranger choice may immediately play 1 card. So that'll give me my energy back for the Red Ranger, because he did not have any. And now the Pink Ranger can make an attack anyhow. And I'm going to do one of my arrow shots. I'm going to spend the shared pool of energy. So I get to roll 3 dice. And since it's this battle and I want to make sure, I'm going to exhaust the Tyrannosaurus, and I'm going to get to draw 2 more dice. We're going to do 2 red dice to represent the zone. So for 5 dice, I need to do 2 damage. The Pink Ranger did it by herself. She had 4 damage, and the Red Ranger only gave me 2. But it was worth a shot. So we defeated him, which is perfect. And we'll put him over there. But at least that cleans out that area for us, so we don't have to worry about that getting too... Probably can't get panicked in 1 turn. Now we gotta put everybody back. And now we're on